A man who certainly is committed to all of the work he does, as all of the Greens are, I have to say. He is Scott Ludlam, who is Green Senator for WA and the spokesperson on energy issues. Please make him very...
So we fill the room. We monitor the room. There's people spilling out the doorway. Hello, back there. Thanks so much all for coming. This is a really exciting evening because I think we will probably come in retrospect to see this as quite a historic turning point. Not just tonight, even though it's great to have everybody here, but the fact that tonight we are closing the debate on it can't be done, or the there is no alternative, or the don't bother argument has to finish here. Actually, it would have been great if this work had been done 20 years ago. That's not a criticism, Matthew, but it's good that it's happening now because it's very much overdue. For the very first time, we've now got a workable blueprint to show us how to run the country on our vast and abundant resources of sun and wind, among other things. And the proposal, I think, finishes, hopefully permanently, the stale and dismal debate about whether it's a choice between fossil or nuclear, which I am sick of. I'm really over that. It sounds like perhaps that sentiment is shared. I want to read you something from Machiavelli. This was written a little while ago. In the Prince, he wrote, "There is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success, than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. Because the innovator has for enemies all those who have done well under the old conditions, and lukewarm defenders in those who may do well under the new." That was written in 1515, 500 years ago. I feel like it rings true today, except for the lukewarm part, because we cannot afford to be lukewarm in this one. There's a third option beyond fossil and nuclear that permanently changes the way that we produce and use energy, and I think Matthew's presentation tonight changes the debate. I want to have a debate about whether the costings are sound, whether that interconnector over the Nullarbor is necessary or not, whether we shouldn't maybe have some of the beautiful wave energy devices that Carnegie are building on Fremantle. That's the kind of debate I want to have. I'm sick of pushing back on that, no, it can't be done, because what are you going to do when the sun goes down, man? Well, these plants are now being built. There was some beautiful computer graphics there, but the stuff that inspires me more are the construction shots of these things taking shape in Spain and North America. That is exciting. At the moment, it seems the Australian mentality is stuck. The only way we can produce electricity is to dig stuff up and burn it. And so we're faced with this deep hostility, I think, in our body politic to any proposal that doesn't involve digging something up and burning it. It's just it doesn't compute in the public discourse. And so what this helps us do, I think, is to try and imagine, if we can, just give ourselves the luxury of a few moments of imagining that we got it right, that we did it, that it's 20 years down the track. In other words, the stuff has been built 10 years ago. We're actually kind of bored of it. We're all used to it, and we've started to forget about these stale and boring debates that we were having in the second decade of the 21st century. Imagine that we managed to pull it off. And we're running a 21st century economy on sunlight and the sea breeze. Wave energy farms, maybe geothermal energy, maybe a little bit of oil mallee biomass out in the wheat belt, out on the fringe of the grid. We've built it, and now that it's sinking in that we've done it, because our fuel bills are gradually tailing off to zero. We've built the capital, and it's running on sunlight and wind. And we've got out of the digging up and burning of stuff paradigm. And now our task is just maintaining what we have. How different that kind of economy is to what we're running today. Fighting overseas wars, chasing, trying to corner the market in the last vestiges of depleting fossil fuels. I think we've all collectively had enough. What a relief to imagine that we kicked the fossil habit. The other thing that I really love about this document, and I think they have copies for sale out the front, is that there are no politics in there. And the organisers tonight had the good grace to invite colleagues from a couple of different parties up to the stage, but actually there's no politics in the BZE document at all. It's a technical manual written by engineers and scientists that says, here's how you do it, over to you, and now it's been thrown at our feet. By our feet, I don't just mean politicians, I mean ours collectively, everybody in this room. This document is a challenge that says you can do it if you choose to do it. That's a political question, it's not an engineering question. The engineering questions are at the margin, they're very interesting, but they've, I think, been settled. If you've been watching the debate in Canberra, you'll know that politicians will not get this job done. It's a pretty desperate time, actually. I'm very glad that the Prime Minister's finally made a line in the sand that we've finally got a debate. And I'm actually very proud that that debate's been joined. But the Canberra, Capitol Hill, is overrun with gas and coal lobbyists. And it's a repeat of the CPRS debate all over again. We cannot allow that to happen a second time. And that is very much up to you. If I think the Foster lobbyists managed to get Tony Abbott over the line, it will probably cost us another decade. It's going to be very difficult to claw back the ground that we've made so far, the position that we're in, very finely balanced numbers in the National Parliament. It's actually, I think the stakes are quite high. We will probably only get one go at this. Because we can spend another decade arguing over the science. We could do that. I spent probably lost an hour of my life today debating Ian Plimer, a climate skeptic on the ABC, on 6PR rather. I apologise to anybody who sat through any part of that. Not interested in another 10 years of that, but that is very much what it could cost us if the next 6 or so months go badly. So what needs to happen, I think, is we need to get on the front foot, and that is a job not just for politicians, that is something for absolutely everybody, to spread the message that's in this document. We can choose it. Are you interested in this? Let's debate the costings. Let's debate if it should be 10 years or 15 years. Let's have that discussion. I think the first plant should be built just outside of Kalgoorlie. That's why we're going up there tomorrow. Is anybody with me? Kalgoorlie. So that's a debate. Perhaps it should be Carnarvon. Perhaps it should be out back at Perenjori. The council out there is very, very keen as well. I'm picking Kalgoorlie, and that's why we're going up there tomorrow. Let's have that debate. Not that it can't be done debate. So we need support, I think, whether you're by yourself, whether you're working with some of the groups that are represented here tonight. Events like the Walk Against Swarming could actually just get on radio, just write letters to the editor, particularly with the crisis unfolding in Japan at the moment. This is what people call a teachable moment. This is when we can choose to learn something for a change. I think it's tremendously important that we do that. One example, pick up one of these little things on the way out. I'm sure they've been distributed around the place. On the 30th of this month, the Prime Minister's bringing a community cabinet to Fremantle to the South Fremantle Senior High School. Now, I'm used to saying, okay, God, the Prime Minister's coming, will you organise an anti-nuclear something, or should we do an anti-this something, or should we anti-that something? Let's do something a little bit different this time. Let's surround the Prime Minister with 1,000 people saying, you go, you do this, you push this thing over the line. We need a carbon price in the system now. Can you please join us on the 30th of March and bring 10 of your friends? Another thing, while we're on the subject of things that can be done, I know the BZE folk and their supporters are very keen, not just on the carbon price as Matthew outlined, but perhaps even more importantly on a feed-in tariff, on a get paid to build stuff tariff. My colleague in State Parliament, Robin Chappell MC, has a bill which, to our great surprise, the state government seems to run out of things to do with the State Parliament. If that's not putting it too strongly, they haven't. The Greens feed-in tariff bill, gross feed-in tariff. You get paid for everything you generate, not just what you spill to the grid. That is a very, very important distinction. There's legislation in the Parliament now. This bill, I think, has been 3 or 4 years in gestation, and it's based substantially on what successfully worked in Germany and in other countries in Europe. Please support Robin. He's just down the front here if you want to just quickly let people know who and where you are. Get on Talkback Radio, get into the newspapers, get into politicians' ears. Here's an opportunity right now while we wait for a federal feed-in tariff for WA to get on the front foot and build these things. That, I think, is very, very important. Thanks a lot to SEN and to BZE and all the people, including, I know Eloise put a huge amount of work into tonight, among many others. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for packing out the room. Now it's time to get to work. Thank you. Yeah.